Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. Today I fucked up by giving a nice guy a free iced tea. Obligatory. This happened years ago, but I know how much Reddit loves nice guys and this came up today, so I thought I'd share it. I worked for a very popular, very busy steakhouse chain as a waitress. One day early on in the night I get sat with a one-top at a large table meant for 6, thanks hosts, and the guy tells me he's waiting for his friend. Sure, no problem. Fast forward an hour, friend isn't here yet. I'm getting annoyed because my table real estate is being used for a $0 check. The guy finally orders a burger and a soda another hour later. So we're at 2 hours now. Third hour, in comes nice guy, the friend we've been waiting for. Finally, although at this point I'm so annoyed that I'm losing out on money from having this table occupied for so long. Nice guy proceeds to order an iced tea and that's it. I'm visibly annoyed by this and walked away in silence. In the kitchen while making the tea, I realize maybe I'm being a little bitchy. Some people don't really understand how camping at a table for so long on a busy night means I lose money, especially considering their check was about $30. I feel bad and decide to give the nice guy the iced tea for free and didn't ring it in. I told him as much when I dropped the tea off to sort of make up for the attitude I gave him. And that is where I fucked up. They proceed to sit for another hour, so totaling about 4 hours at my table and leave me a $3 tip. I barely spoke to these guys as I was annoyed by them. I easily lost on $60, $100 because of these guys, but wrote it off as a loss and moved on. Went home that night and stopped thinking about it. Next day I'm at my, then, boyfriend's house. I get a call from work saying my boyfriend is at the restaurant looking for me. What? Weird. I tell them I'm with my boyfriend. They told me the guy had left already and to be safe. Few hours later I get a text from nice guy. This is when I find out I actually went to high school with this guy, so he knew my full name and didn't have a hard time finding my number. He admits he came to my place of work looking for me to ask me out on a date. I politely decline as I'm in a relationship. This is when he blows up. He thought me giving him the free iced tea was some sort of indicator that I'd like to date him. He would not stop talking about the iced tea. How dare I give him a free beverage if I didn't intend to marry him? He berated me for giving him mixed signals and leading him on with the iced tea. This is when I explained to him that I gave him the iced tea because I gave him an attitude and explained to him that him and his friend were inconsiderate and cheap and made me lose money that shift. Blocked his number, and the number and that, and the number after that. This guy spent days making new phone numbers and using them to text me to beg me to meet up with him so he could give me money. As I got meaner and more aggressive with him, he began to call me names like slut, whore, bitch, etc., saying how much nicer I was in high school. I never spoke to this guy a day in my life before this transpired. Fast forward a few more days and the texts stopped, thank God. Or so I thought. I was sitting in my college's library working on a project when I get a text from nice guy who tells me he sees me and likes my green sweater. I was indeed wearing a green sweater. Yep, he did indeed also go to my community college. I calmly got up and left, walked to my car and went home. Thankfully it was broad daylight with many people around, so I just noped out of there. When I got home the TXTs were threatening, saying he can find out where I live and please just let him give me some money. I decided to go the local police station to report stalking. Explained the story to the officer on duty. Very calmly, the officer calls nice guy on the phone and gives him his name and badge number. He tells nice guy that this is a warning and to never contact me again. It worked. I never heard from him again and never walked around campus alone at night. Lesson here: never give a nice guy a free beverage. Too long didn't read, gave a nice guy a free iced tea and found myself in a stalker situation. I liked this story, super satisfying ending, smile. Why are nice guys like this? Joke answer: because they aren't nice. Real answer from a former nice guy who got his shit together: they have no experience with romance outside of the romances portrayed in movies, TV shows, and other pop culture. In their mind, signals like free iced tea are indeed legitimate signals of romantic interest because that's what is shown to them in media. Can I just say how awesome it was for that cop to call the guy and tell him to back off. So many times we hear stories about cops saying there's nothing that they can do blah blah. But literally a quick call from a cop can make all the difference with psychos like this. Glad he backed off and that you're safe. Yeah, I was happy. Honestly, it was probably all he could have done. But I'm glad he actually took the time to make the call. Scared the guy enough to leave me alone. I hope you gave the cop a free coffee. Wait. Never give anyone a free anything because chances are high they'll expect something more. Give an arm, and they will ask for the leg, too. Ask to put the tip in, and well, you can guess the rest. Ask for your palm, and they will take your forearm too. Today I fucked up by not knocking. My daughter is 16 years old and is smarter and nicer than I could ever hope of being. I was downstairs cooking dinner and I realized she's not downstairs bugging me for the sake of bugging me, which is something she does just because she knows I find it extremely annoying. So I call her name to tell her dinner was ready. I got no response. So I go looking for her and I start to panic a little bit as she had been suffering from depression a few months beforehand. So I go to her room and open the door. As it turns out, she was simply enjoying herself. I quickly turn around and tell her dinner's ready and to please wash her hands before she eats. She tells me she'll be down and just told me to leave, which I did. After a few minutes she comes down the stairs and we eat in near complete silence while avoiding eye contact. I tried to make some kind of small talk, but it was clear we were both just supposed to sit there and eat in silence. Too long, didn't read, looked for my daughter when she didn't come down for dinner. She was in her room getting comfortable, and we ate dinner in complete silence. The second-hand embarrassment is killing me. Well, most today I fucked up. Start with not knocking at a door. Now will always knock, smile. But your first sentence and the fact you got panicked seems like you really care about your kids, so that is something I highly admire. BTW, did you two eat alone at the table, thus making it even more awkward? She came before dinner. Just take the gold. You told her to wash her hands? Holy fucking shit. Wow. It was more of a semi-panic response. Always knock please and never ban locking of doors. It's such an invasion of privacy if you don't allow your child to have their own space to do what they want uninterrupted. My dad will literally burst into my room without knocking or anything. I don't have any rule about locking the door at all. It was just a slight mishap that led to an embarrassing situation. Today I fucked up by trying to have my first ever one-night stand. I, 21M, broke up from my first ever relationship of 3 years about a month ago, which pretty much ended badly. After spending time with myself and not wanting to do literally anything, my friends managed to convince me to go to a local bar so I could free my mind and move on with my life. Fast forward an hour later of me not really in the mood for dancing and drinking, I could feel a girl staring at me, like really staring at me. I noticed it, my friends noticed it, and it didn't take long for them to try to motivate me to talk to her. I wasn't really into it since she wasn't really my type and I felt it was too early for me to do such thing. Despite not being the bravest guy around, I decided that I have nothing to lose and in worst case scenario I would just get rejected, which wouldn't really matter to me at that point. I approach her and to my surprise, since I didn't give a shit whether she would reject me or not, it all went really smoothly. She was a fresh year college student and she was actually really into finding new friends, having fun, etc. After talking for a while, for some unknown reason I asked her if she wanted to join me for a car ride, in which she immediately agreed. We arranged that I would leave the club to pick up my car and I would pick her up from outside the club. I have never seen my friends more proud as I said goodbye to them, explaining them to where I was going and what were my intentions. After leaving the club I quickly drove, 100% sober, to the closest drugstore to buy some protection before picking up the girl. I was driving towards the club to pick her up and I started to feel my heart beat. I was sure that this was the moment I would finally move on, not only mentally but physically. I drove outside of the club, and she just joined my car and she went for a hug. As I was waiting to smell a woman's fragrance after what seemed like ages, I opened my arms only to realize that the girl was indeed smelling bad. Like really bad. I'm talking like a trash can full of trash. Her nails were greenish, her hair was smelling awful, and she wore third-day clothes for sure. The thought of how bad her hygiene was really ruined it in milliseconds for me. I couldn't really smell all this from inside the bar, but when she joined the car, I thought I would die from the bad smell she brought with her. I didn't want to sound rude if I immediately asked her to walk away though. So, there I am, driving without a destination, trying to stay as close to the window as possible to get some fresh air, towards what I thought could be a fun night. After some minutes of awkward conversation and her teasing on me while I was driving, she asked me to pull out so we could do horny stuff together. I couldn't find an excuse not to pull out, and a couple of seconds after I did, she started invading my personal space. Wanting her to stop, I asked her to get to know each other first before we get to anything. After a while she revealed to me that she is on a long-distance relationship and she is about to break up. That was it. My perfect excuse. I instantly replied that this is not right and suggested that she should break up first and then we could talk about something between us. She really felt amazed of how such a nice guy I was, giving me a kiss on my cheek, in which I realized that also her breath was also smelling like shit. I was legitimately shaking at the point of all these smells combined and asked her to return her downtown, to which I did. She left the car, waved goodbye and expressed that this was the start of something special. And now here is me, trying to clean my car which still smells like a portable trash can, without knowing what to say to my friends who thought I got laid and had the best night of my life, and to that girl if she finally breaks up with her boyfriend. Too long didn't read, I picked up a girl I just met with my car, only to realize she smelled awfully, but I didn't want to be rude so I tried to make her get bored of me and leave. That stinks. Explains why she was in that long-distance relationship. I once had ONS with a girl who wet the bed then blamed it on my dog. Turns out moving on has at least a couple more than 6 stages of grief. Good luck, buddy.